I'm here with Nick, the owner and head brewer extraordinaire, and I'm so curious, like, what made you decide to start your own brewery?
Yeah, so it was a dream of mine for a long time. I started in the garage about 11 years ago, just home brewing with buddies. Got a professional brewing job, and I found myself getting bored of brewing the same 7 beers year round all the time. So yeah, decided to start my own little thing.
Talk a little bit about the size, because would you consider this a nano brewery?
We're right on the cusp there. If we were brewing, twice a week and that stuff, we would be considered a microbrewery. But at our size, we're right in between a nano and a micro.
Okay. So in the series, Sloan Krause kind of breaks away from the bigger microbrewery in town, still obviously a craft brewery, to help start a nano brewery, a smaller kind of scale pub. And I'm curious where Osmo's kind of lands in that realm and how you got started.
So started about 11 years ago in the garage, just brewing with buddies. Eventually got a professional brewing job. Wanted to do my own beers. I didn't want to brew the same thing, other people's recipes over and over again. So I started here, and we're right in between a nano and a micro. Big nano, small micro, depending on how much volume we're doing every moment. So, yeah.
And so in the series, one of the subplots is that there is a hop shortage. And so some of the smaller players in craft beer are having a hard time getting their hands on the most coveted hops. Have you run into any of that?
Yeah, that's a very real thing. A lot of big breweries sign hop contracts, and they tend to hog up, the whatever hops are kind of the hot hop that summer or whatever. That's little guys, we kind of have to scrap around for hops. It happens all the time, and I don't know if you remember, but about 7 years ago, there was a huge hop yard fire, and there was like almost a worldwide hop shortage, and we're still recovering from that because we're still suffering from that fire. So, we fight over hops.
It's legit.
Yeah.
Would somebody kill another brewer over?
I don't know. That's
only in books.
Yeah.
Do you source your hops from the Northwest or all over?
I do. Most of my hops are grown a little north of Salem. Some from Washington, but they almost all the time come from the Northwest, unless I want some crazy New Zealand hop or I'm brewing a really authentic German beer or something like that. But 90% of the time I do use West Coast hops.
That's great. So one of the other things that happens in this series, and this happens from my perspective as a writer, a lot of times readers have this false sense that there's a lot of competition amongst my fellow writers, when in reality there's a lot of collaboration that happens.
Yeah.
And I think people might have that assumption about brewing too, that you'd be really competitive with one another.
Yeah, but we all know each other. In a town like this, we're all friends. In fact, Walkabout has our beer on tap. We're friends. We drink together after work. We get along. Every once in a while, someone might throw a low blow, but at the end of the day, it's beer, and everyone's happy, so it doesn't matter.
Toast with a pint, and call it good.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of along those same lines, in the series, this bigger microbrewery that Sloan kind of leaves to start the Nano, they do a lot to kind of help smaller breweries get off the ground. Maybe it's shipping hops or collaborating on a recipe. Does that kind of thing happen? Have you had anyone kind of mentor you along the way?
Yeah, we're pretty good friends with the local distillery, so we do a lot of projects with them. We borrow their barrels, lend them beer, that sort of thing. And then along the breweries too, if we're running short on an ingredient, there's a handful of places I'll call and I can normally find it, and vice versa. We all share, so yeah.
Is it true that brewers spend more time cleaning than anything else?
Yes, but it's not your typical janitor mopping floors, and it's cleaning's almost the whole process in itself. There's a lot of different ways to clean certain things, and it's part of being a brewer.
And do you loathe it, or have you come to just embrace that it's...
Every brewer has this thing that they really don't. My thing is cleaning kegs. I hate cleaning kegs. But other than that, I don't mind. It's like I know the cleaner my tanks are, the better the beer will turn out. that sort of thing. It's just a step, and it goes along with brewing. It's part of it. It's what you sign up for. So, yeah.
What's the most unique beer that you've ever made?
Oh man, it's a tough one. I get pretty weird. I once brewed a beer with Frosted Flakes syrup.
Oh my gosh!
I've done some interesting stuff.
Why don't you have that on tap right now so I can taste it?
Like, how many Frosted Flakes would I need? But
and did it turn out well?
It did. It was really good. It was like this nice kind of cream ale thing. It was. You could taste the Frosted Flakes, which is kind of weird but good at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a brewer, do you try to pay attention to trends? Like, right now the hazy is hot, right?
I do a degree. A lot of brewers have a special hate in their heart for hazy IPAs because it took me like 6 or 7 years to make my beer not look like that.
Clean and
right.
pristine.
And now that people want my beer to look like that, it's a little aggravating.
Yeah.
But yeah, most trends, I'm into the sour thing. I'm into most of the trends, but the hazy thing,
you can't do it.
Can't
do
get
it.
with
No. On that note, like, how far out are you planning? Are you
right? So I'm starting to think about fall beers right about now, especially like the fall lagers, the things that take a bit longer. Trying to source those fall ingredients. A lot of people do pumpkin beers. I don't, but I do. I want to do like a port sour, so get some nice dark grapes in a port barrel, and I want to release that. So I'm talking to winemakers now about their harvest, that kind of thing. So yeah, you're definitely thinking a few months in the future, all the time.
And have you ever had a shortage? Have you run out? Have you gotten something on tap that customers were just like?
Yeah, it's happened a couple times. Right now, unfortunately, we don't have any IPA, and we're not going to have any for like 4 days. That's a party foul, but beer week, things happen, and I'm not willing to push a beer out before it's ready. So yeah, shortages do happen. It's just part of it.
I know, and is that it's probably a blessing and a curse.
Right, yeah, as a business owner, it's awesome. As a brewer, it's like, oh man, yeah. So.
And beer is not something you can rush. You can't just whip up a new batch, right?
The beer's done when it's done.
The beer's done when it's done. Yeah. What's the hardest thing about owning your own brewery?
The hardest thing, it's the work. And as much as I love brewing, there's some days where I wake up and I'm just like, oh man, 12-hour brew day today. And once I do it, once I get in the mode, I have fun and I enjoy it. But I miss days off and stuff. Just being able to leave town for a couple days. It's hard because your beer's not gonna just stop and wait for you to come back. It's a very organic, moving process. And you have to check on it every day.
And you have to watch it, and it's like a baby.
Yeah, you have to check on it. So yeah, that's the part I have problems with the most. No, I can't go to the lake because I gotta check my logger,
right,
that kind of thing. So yeah.
All right, this is the portion where I ask you 10 hard-hitting questions.
All right.
Whatever comes to your mind, go for it.
Okay.
Where would you stash the evidence in the brewery?
For murder?
For anything.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe you've been skimming off your tills, siphoning the kegs at night.
If it was big, I'd probably throw it in the fermenter. It's a big old manway, and no one ever looks in there.
No one ever looks.
Yeah, nobody ever opens that. So.
Unless you read my first book, Death on Tap, where that's where we found the body.
Oh.
What's the craziest ingredient you've ever used in brewing?
Well, once I brewed a beer with rhubarb, not realizing it's a laxative. So that was interesting. That was not commercial, so I didn't sell that beer. It was at home for personal. But I found out real quick.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, don't put rhubarb in beer.
It's probably going to be the same for beets, just for other beer.
Yeah.
Can or bottle?
Cans.
Cans.
Yeah, and it depends on the beer. Like if it's bottle aged, it should be in a bottle. But
favorite hop?
Ooh, depends on the beer, but I use a lot of Centennial. Totally depends on the style. But I have a favorite.
You don't have to have a favorite.
They all have their own spot.
They have their purpose. Yeah. Book or movie?
Book.
Oh, good answer. Yeah. Amanda's trouble for that one.
Yeah.
You might need to fire
She's
her.
a read world.
She's just serving your beer all day. So, you know. What would be your murder weapon of choice?
Oh, jeez. Maybe a car, because then I wouldn't have to actually touch anything.
The best beer you've ever tasted?
The best beer I ever tasted wasn't the best beer I ever tasted because it was the best beer. It was because I was in Mexico for 11 days and all the beer down there is terrible. So when I finally made it back to the States and cracked open, I forget what it was. It was probably like a Workers or just something I drink all the time. And I remember that being just like the best. Right, yeah.
Craft beer.
11 days without craft beer.
It's the worst beer that you've ever tasted. It might be the same answer, huh?
No, so yeah, back again to my home brewing days, what would happen is you would overbrew, like you brew more than you could actually drink. So you'd end up with a surplus of all these bottles, and sometimes the label wasn't on there correctly or whatever. And so I remember when I was moving, I just found cases and cases of beer without labels. And my other home brewing buddies came over and we just started cracking them and not really knowing what was in them. And I remember there was a beer in there that just was so disgusting, just like so vile. And it had to have been like one of the first things I ever brewed and just forgot about it for years. So it was, yeah.
Did you taste it?
Yeah, I mean, I smelled it and I knew right away I didn't want to taste it, but I felt like I had to. So, yeah.
Craft beer pairs perfectly with?
No, it's a lifestyle. You can make craft beer pair with anything. You know, it's totally. It's very versatile.
Good answer. And the best thing about working in the world of craft beer?
Almost everybody's happy. You know, nobody's really mad in this industry. There's no reason to be. We're all just doing our thing, following our passion. And it's a great industry. So.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.